company jargon that we use in each service, each department. Like we have our own terms, and also the product that we are offering, and to combine all these terms in one document, so that whenever somebody new comes to the company, they can look at this document and have an idea of what we mean when we say certain things. But well, it hasn't been done before, and my issue is I've worked as a terminologist before, but I never had to create a glossary from scratch. I always had to work on glossary, database already created, and had to update them and create definition, but not to do everything from scratch. And the fact that they are from different domain, like there is the specific term specific to each team, then the product term specific to the product itself. I found it difficult to put that together, and to find a logic in my glossary. How to. I feel like maybe I should have 3 different glossary, but at the same time, the idea is to get them all together. So, and to avoid having lots of documents, to have everything in one spot, one location.
Sure. What's the workforce you have? You have a team, right?
So I work in a team. Well, we are 2 of us with our manager 3, but we are the language service team. So we deal with the clients mostly, and we then communicate with the translation coordinators, but we don't deal with the translators directly. But then we deal with all the other team, like, because we are kind of like connected with everybody, because once we've done the treat, we process all the requests that we receive, then we are in contact with the accounting team, the sales department. So we are providing information to all these different teams. So the language that we are using we have our own term, but we would be using terms from these different teams also, because we are interacting with them. But we are. It's not typical translation team. Like, I'm not exactly in the translation. I'm linked to them, but I'm not working so directly with translation people, translators, and I'm working with the coordinator. I would review, like, check the format of a translation before delivering it, but I'm not translating, but I still feel that to improve the communication, some document is required so that everybody understand better what everybody's saying, because the communication is not always clear, and because we are from different nationalities, we understand each time in our own way, so it can create misunderstanding.
Of course. Who are the clients? Who are your clients? You mentioned clients.
They are. It's okay. The company is a financial service company, so we are offering. We help investors fund. It's specialized in funds. I can't pronounce this word. Fund industry. So there would be fund company investors that are need to have their specific document to get them translated in different languages. So all the main terminology is around financial terminology for the product. And there would be clients in lots of different countries, but mainly European, lots of German. We have lots of German translation requested.
Do you have contacts with the European Central Bank? They have an entire team of terminologists. They are members of my organization of TermNet. Do you have contacts with them?
Not really. I would say the client that I'm dealing with, yes, they would be, because some of their documents need to be, but yeah, it's not necessarily the European Central Bank. It would be the central bank in Ireland, for example, or in Switzerland. So the institute that review the document and make sure that all the content it's confirmed with the legislation. But no, I don't have a direct contact with.
Okay, and what would you need? How could we support you?
So when I'm still going through the course, and it says that using an Excel spreadsheet is not good. But for me, because I feel that would be the easiest, because I need a document support that is document media that is accessible, easily accessible by anybody. If I use term-based, multi-term, SDL multi-term, it's very, like, you have to have a multi-term, and I don't know, I just see like it's less straightforward to use, because it's good for like proper terminology documentation, but because this is slightly maybe not so much, I mean.
Yeah, of course, André. That's for sure. We always start with a spreadsheet. Always. That's the way it's evolving. Yeah, it depends then on the complexity. You know, you might end up, and you will end up, with a spreadsheet that has hundreds of columns and thousands of rows. That's the
not
yet. I know. However, a spreadsheet, an Excel sheet, is the ideal way to prepare for a decent terminology database. And you know, it's not about multi-term only. Increasingly, there are a lot of other tools. So definitely, it's not about the tools. There are even, tools for free, designed by universities, or a very low cost. You can really afford in every environment, in every organization. So there is really a lot of tools available already. And the tool usually comes last. That's actually a good way to start with something, and to start with a glossary and an Excel sheet, and a spreadsheet. So that's not the issue. The issue actually is about the people, you know, and then the processes, and then the tools. So what about the people? You're saying that the two of you, you are a team. and
Yeah.
kind of this missing link. You're a hub, you're a
Yeah, kind of.
yeah, you kind of the interface
Yeah,
between everybody, you know, between
more or
the
less. Yeah.
clients and the organization and the translators and other stakeholders.
Yeah.
So I would like to know more about these people. You know, do you have enough workforce? Do you have, how do you organize communication with all these stakeholders? Because this is a critical success factor. You also need budget. How do you organize budget, for instance?
Oh my God. Well, budget. I would have to talk to my manager. But the way I was planning to do that was to. I started to go through the marketing document of all the products, so that I'm scanning the document and
how
selecting.
do you do that? In a manual form, or do you use term extraction tools already? How do you do it?
Oh, I'm very manual at the moment because it's not a translation company. This idea is like I have to. I'm coming up with something new. It's not in their. It's not a priority. It's not in their idea of having terminology. Well,
so how did it start? Did you initiate? Did you go to your boss, to your manager, and say, "Well, we have to do something about terminology"?
It's because every year we have to come up with an objective for ourselves. So
Okay.
I have one of my objectives was to create a glossary. The first year I joined the company, and I never managed to do it because I don't have time during the day. But I kept on thinking of it because that's something, because I'm originally a translator. That's what I can bring, because the financial world is new for me. I'm a technical translator, but as a IT translator and finance. I went to finance to discover this world and understand better their terminology. But the thing that I was thinking that I could bring was my knowledge of around terms and how to organize terms and communication. So I said that I would create this glossary, and my manager at the time said, "Oh, that's a good idea, because we could indeed present it to anybody come joining the company, and they would have a quick idea." Because also the idea is to put in simple English, not but like
accessible. That's accessible. The term is accessible, exactly. Or global.
Global English, because for me it's really a difficult world, the finance world. I found it very difficult to understand. But so that was the original idea, and she said, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea." But I'm still haven't managed to fulfill this objective. So, but then the company has joined another company, and I'm thinking, that could be good to have a more global terminology. The other company, we don't really know. Well, I don't really understand everything that they are doing, and they are using
that's often the case with mergers, everything then explodes kind of, and
exactly
things go mad. That's very usual.
So I'm having my review, so I have to come up with my objective. So I've updated my goal is to I want to submit that project to have a document that is combining the terms from all the different teams. So and so I was going to start with my group, the original company, so my team, and then the translation team, the fund reporting, because we do lots of financial report. We create from scratch the financial report for the different company, and we also translate them. So it's
in how many languages? In how many languages?
Oh gosh, I think it's something like 30 languages. So, but basically any language, they can, a client can come up to us and ask us. We will always take the request and search. It's very rare when we can't manage to provide the language, but we have.
Do you then are you searching for translation agencies?
No, we work with the translators directly. Like they are very specific about the selection of the translators. They really want specialized translators in finance, which is quite rare. In fact, I realized it's difficult to find people who are really.
That's why I was asking how you tackle this issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's mainly we work directly with translators.
And they create their own glossaries, or how do they manage terminology?
The translation coordinators have Trados, and they have all the glossary, the translation memory. So they would, whenever there is a project, they would provide the translators with the translation memory to do the job. But I suppose the translators have their own also.
Of course, they always have. So you have a lot of different sources, terminology islands, let's say, right? If I got you right, you have these. You have the multi-term stuff. You have the translators do their own thing, and what about your glossary? Is it kind of connected to the translators?
The one that I want to create, because it's more an internal glossary for the company staff and new staff. So
it's more the corporate language, right? It's not that financial terminology. It's more the corporate wording, right?
Yes, but because I want to include the product, the products would require financial terminology.
So then it is kind of connected with the translators.
Okay. In that sense, yes. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm asking so many questions. I just tried to figure out your situation and how we can best, give you help and advice. Yeah? So you took the course, the online training course. So far, what first you learned that actually you should use spreadsheets. What was the next thing?
One thing that I'm struggling with is the standards, ICO, ISO. When I was translating, I always saw that lots of my clients would put that in their signature, and then I still don't understand how does it work. How come you have to pay to have a ISO standard? And I understand that they define the rules that we have to follow, but it's I can't explain. It's that part. I don't understand why we need to have
ISO standards.
Yeah.
That's a good question for the audience. Hello, Antonina. Hello, Daniela. Hi, Kai again. So why do we need ISO standards in terminology management and also in translation management? That's a good question. What would you say? What would you answer, André?
Well, I suppose it's a way to define the rules that one need to follow regarding terminology, how we apply terminology, it's the term that we need to use depending on the domain and all of these.
Do you think that this is standardized? Did you ever read a terminology standard? Did you buy it? Because we have to buy, as you would. Did you ever read such a standard?
Started to read, but it's
was it helpful or not?
It's very long. I don't know.
It shouldn't be long. I fully agree with you. A good standard never should be long. It's not literature, you know. It's not a huge novel. Not at all. It should be 10 pages maximum, and that's always my concern and my argument with those people who create the standards. I use them. I use them also as an auditor. You know, I do audits, not with terminology standards yet, but with the ISO 17100. This is our international standard for translation management. So that's a good standard actually, and not a long one. That's not longish. But I agree with you that the terminology standards, they are kind of longish. That's true, and sometimes they seem not to be very practical. Right. So what was, I would like to hear the opinion of our group. What is your experience with ISO standards for terminology management? Because in our courses, we always have one module about ISO standards. So what could be the benefit, and how did you benefit from ISO standards or not? Antonina, Dani, Kai, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, hi, this is Dani.
Hi, Dani.
So for me, yeah, as you say, it's a standard. It's a way to standardize our terminology work. Even if you work in a big company, that's simply a must. And I always like the possibility to go back to standards and look it up if I was right when I'm telling stuff to people. And I think there are ISO standards also as documents available in our course. So I like to look them up, and we have lots of standards, not only terminology standards, of course. In our company, we refer heavily to standards, and yeah, it's to be on track and to know where to go to and to have a common basis. We can refer to.
That's a good point. A common basis. It is also a common language. If you think about the ISO 17100 standard, there are 42 terms and definitions of the language of our translation profession. You know, so there is, everything is defined there. This is actually really our common language. So in this respect, yes, it's useful. Yeah. Next argument, very good argument. I don't know if it's convincing for André. Let's see. So a document you can refer to, you can look it up, and you have at least this common language, which does not mean that people really use that language in practice. When I do audits for ISO 17100, meaning for translation agencies, there is the first certification criteria is, do they use the language, the terminology of ISO 17100? And it's not about all these 42 terms, you know, it's more or less about 5 or 6 terms, the core terms, such as, you know, for the process of translating, what is editing? What is revision? What is what is always mixed up, you know, what is proofreading.
Proofreading, yeah.
Because proofreading in still worldwide, yeah, in the practical communication between clients and translators and agencies, proofreading is everything. It stands for correcting, editing, and proofreading in terms of, you know, so multilingual checks, one bilingual checks, and no, only, you know, monolingual, and not even related to language, but to, you know, checking whether this table is on the right place and so on. This is actually proofreading. Yeah? Before something is published, there is no translation involved any longer, or no, you know, revision where you compare the source text and the target text. So this is very confusing. So their standardization can really help. This is an argument, pro, you know, an argument in favor of standardization, because, you know, when a client doesn't know actually what is the service you're rendering, yeah? And of course the client isn't supposed to know that. You can educate your client, that's nice, but then you have to use the language very consistently yourself. And what we see when we audit companies, we see that it's really a mixture and a mess, actually. And this respect, it helps a lot if people standardize the core terminology they are using, because it brings a lot of you know, clarity and certainty. It's also about product liability, because if a client doesn't know, think about your financial terminology. Yeah, when I get from my various bank accounts and you know, all these financial products, when I get sometimes this annual information, it's just ridiculous. The glossaries they send me with it's, you know, this is the lousiest glossaries I ever read, to be honest with you, is in the financial world. It's you know, it's like if you would explain, a table is a table where you can put on things. Okay, it's just weird. Yeah, you do not understand anything in this definition. So it's really needed, and there, of course, standardization can help, because in ISO standards about financial issues, you have definitions, you have terms and definitions. That's the beauty of each and every standard. They have a single chapter, you know, where they have to define the terminology they use in the standard. You know? So that's a good way actually to catch up with a kind of a standardized terminology. Of course, it's voluntary. They are not forcing you. ISO is not forcing you to use this terminology, but it gives you this common language. At least more than 100 countries, representatives from more than 100 countries agreed on a definition for a financial term. Yeah? So also in this respect, it could be very wise to have a look at ISO standards, also at national level. It's useful, but ISO is ISO. There are it's the largest group, you know, and this could also be interesting. How do they define this financial term in the respective standard? So Antonina, what is your
hello, Gabriele.
comment? Hello. So good to see you again.
So my opinion is that the standards are very welcome. So, and we have a lot of issues that we have to discuss. And it's very good, at least, to have something fixed, something that we don't need to discuss.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and from this point of view, all such reference materials that are accepted by a group are very welcome. And last time, I couldn't take part in the discussion It was very interesting, the discussion about the inclusive language. But for technical reasons, I could only hear, but I couldn't speak. And you discussed the inclusive language. And last year, I was involved in a project in the elaboration of the standard, how to say, for the use of the inclusive language.
Do you mean easy to read language?
No,
Like,
not easy to read, but inclusive.
yeah.
I mean, that includes everybody, people with disabilities.
Yes.
So this kind of standard.
Yeah, because there is an ISO committee. The term, the accepted term, actually, I know inclusive language, I know accessible language, but I also know easy to read language.
Easy to read.
No. Actually, it's because easy to read means easy to understand, and this is the inclusiveness about it, you know. So I like inclusive language very much. I just wanted to clarify that you're referring to that what I know as under the headline of easy to read. Yes,
I think easy to read, it will be the next stage, because it's inclusive. So, and I translated the general part into Bulgarian, into my native language, and I drafted the Bulgarian specific part.
For the standard, was that the standard about inclusive?
It's a standard for our institution.
Wonderful. Okay.
So of course it is how to say, related to the standards of the other European institutions. We cannot create something that is completely different.
Sure.
And it is based on our practice. So we write what actually we have to write the materials and to do everything accordingly to. And it was a very hard. It's the first time I did such a thing. It was very hard to write it. So
why? Why?
Why? So because you have to think about different situations. And if you write that this is the accepted term in Bulgarian, okay, this is accepted term, but there are consequences. So it is related to the grammar. So there are consequences on the grammar. That is why this intervention about the Japanese language that we had last time was very interesting for me, because the Bulgarian is not, it doesn't go as far as the Japanese language go. So you cannot always tell if a text is written by a man or by a woman based on the grammatical forms. But in some cases, yes, you can tell who is behind the text, because the grammatical forms in some circumstances are different. And if you introduce a term, if you say, for instance, that the masculine is the accepted term for men and for women.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to think about all possible contexts and to describe what the translators and writers have to do in this case, in this case, in this case. So I think this part was the most challenging. And of course, I didn't invent everything, but I had to search the different sources, how they treat those issues.
Mm.
So, but I think now it's a good thing that we have this document written, accepted, and it facilitates the communication, for instance, between the translator and the reviser.
Mhm.
You say, okay, but in the document, and it's very good. It was necessary. It was no. Otherwise, it would be a huge waste of time to discuss everything with every single detail. So
Yeah, definitely. So to have a common language, to have a reference document, yeah, these are all good arguments. What else, Kay? What is your relationship with standards, with ISO standards? Did you come across? Do you like them? Do you use them? Are you still there? Kay? Maybe she.
Yeah, but maybe I can add something.
Yes, please
Gabriele,
go ahead.
to that.
Of course.
There was so I very much like the argument of having the standards as a facilitator for communication, and that's absolutely true. Yeah, even also in big companies and larger environments, especially if you have to work together with maybe new LSPs or new departments within your company. If you have one language, and if we as the terminologists don't have a common language and a basis for our communication, then who should have it? So it's us to define that and
Very true. Very true.
follow the rules. So it's basically it's the law. It's the rules we have to
Yes.
stick to
Yeah.
in order to be to create trust as well. And if we want to offer our services to other departments or work together with other LSPs, as I just said, it's just vital to have that, to rely on this or to use the standards and to go back to the standards and cite them. And yeah, it creates trust. That's what I wanted to add to that.
Creates trust. That's a very good argument, actually. Yeah, that's source of truth.
Single source of truth. Yeah,
I often hear, where is our source of truth? But that's true. Can I rely on that? And of course, it is sometimes very tiring to stick to correct and even standardized terminology. Of course, this is a little bit against the creativity. In the past, I often heard the argument, you cannot standardize language. That's horrible. This is a distinctive feature we have as human beings, to be creative in language. That's all true, and I love the beauty of diversity and creativity of language. However, there are some contexts, some situation. No one would like to have firefighters, to discuss over concepts and terms, if it needs to be fast and safe, and secure. They're actually the and very clear. Yeah. Then really, this is not the time and not the context for creativity and variety of language and different terms.
Exactly.
That's the context where really it's great to have a standardization. I used to bring the example of these handbooks of the guidelines in the aviation industry, in the plane, where something is really going wrong. You don't have the time and you don't have the nerves to say something in usual day-to-day language. You stick to that guide you have, and everything is standardized, everything, because we know from these real life situations that in a situation where you are afraid, where you are nervous, where everything is hectic, and dangerous, it's highly dangerous. When you can stick to something which is standard, you know exactly what to say, what to do, yeah, what to communicate. Even the language is standardized. It's not your national language any longer. It is English. You know, the aviation language is English, and also in these handbooks and guidelines for emergency situation, everything is standardized, yeah? And this has a good reason. And the reason is, it's clear we save time, yeah? And we save lives in this respect, because we don't waste time and you know, make mistakes. It's really also an issue for making less mistakes, yeah? When in such situations, processes are also standardized, you know, and with the process also the language, definitely the language is standardized here. So I think this is an extreme, but also a real life example of how standardization, and you even, you know it from now, we don't have so much chances any longer at the moment to fly, to take planes, but I did recently. I went for 1 week of holidays at the sea. I'm craving for the sea. And yeah, and the Maltese Islands. Everybody was wearing masks. That was really great, I think. And it was very safe and very nice. And of course, in the plane, I love the Maltese language. Very exotic to my ears. And it's really, it's very interesting. But of course, the nobody says we can go, yeah, or everybody is here, yeah. So you always say boarding is completed. So even the phrases at the sentence level, this is standardized, so everybody understands, because then in the local languages in Maltese, they said the same thing, of course, that boarding is completed. Great. So Andre, did we did we convince you, or did this resonate with you? So
yeah, no, thanks a lot. I do see the point of it, but why do you, I mean, you say you have to buy the ISO
ISO standards. That's easy to explain, actually. You know, it's a good thing that standardization organizations are independent from government, you know. And they are. It's different in each and every country. For instance, in Austria, it is an association. It's a non-profit association, yeah, and they but actually, of course, they have to finance. They have to finance their staff. In Austria, the Austrian Standards International, they call themselves now Standardization Institute. It was in the past. They have more than 250 employees. You know, so it's actually quite a large organization. They have to pay their employees. They have to pay for for everything, and they provide the framework. You know, when you want to create a new standard, for instance, then you have to submit this project, and there are standardized procedures in place, of course, and it costs a lot of money because it's workforce. You know, you are not alone there. You have your committee manager. They provide, a Standards Institute always provides the infrastructure, you know, for people to meet, to come together and discuss and develop these standards. This is all very costly, you know. So that's the only reason they have to create incomes, to finance these activities. 2 years ago, they initiated in Austria that the experts in standardization need to pay to work on standards, and everybody was upset. How come? We are the expert. We should be paid, actually. Yeah, and that was an attempt to finance things, you know, and that's the it was found illegal by the Austrian government. They said no. This is too exclusive then, yeah, it must be free. That was the decision of the highest court in Austria. That was very interesting. But of course, they have to create an income, yeah, and that's the only reason actually why they have to sell standards. And I have to say, in previous times, it was actually not that expensive. Yeah, I always gave the advice: have a look at different standards institutes. You know, for instance, the Spanish standards institute, they always, in the past, they always had the lowest fees, you know, but it was the same standard, of course, you know? So in English, yeah. So they always have, of course, these they have the English ISO standard, because this is the original one, you know. This is the written in global English, developed in global English, and written in global English, and then translated for all these national standards institutes. But now I noticed that in Austria it is definitely quite expensive. Yeah, it is more than one. It was, you know, it was between 40 and 60. You know, 40 and 60 euro. Yeah. So, but now. I checked it out. It was for a diversity standard. It was a national Austrian national standard. It was 135 euro. Oops. There, I was surprised. Yeah. So of course, you know, the issue is that definitely, you know, it's a lot of work, yeah, to coordinate everything related to standardization. And you know what would happen if they would not be independent? We would risk to have large companies, you know, go there, which actually it happens a little bit already, you know, because to submit a standardization project, you also need to finance in some institutes, not everywhere, but from Austria I know it. You actually need to have 60,000 euro, 60,000 euro, to start up to the secretariat. They call it the secretariat for that standard. That new standard you want to develop, you know. And imagine you need to prove that you have that funding. Yeah? Of course you can apply for funding everywhere, but it gives a huge advantage to large companies, you know. And imagine if even for everything else you would need to pay, then only the large industry players, you know, would kind of dictate the standards in favor of their products. You know, that's the issue. That's the issue, and that's the reason why, yes, unfortunately, there is a long discussion about give away standards for free, you know, and they would love to do. Also, Austrian standards, they had a lot more of public funding in the past, you know, 30%, 20%, yeah. But it increasingly the trend was to stay completely 100% independent, and that's of course you know, the reason why they need income, and the more or less the only way actually, or one of the most frequent ways or reliable ways to create income is to sell standards. Yeah. There is still a lot of other publications as well, but of course the standards, for instance, millions of copies have been sold of ISO 26000, you know, the social responsibility standard that had become a bestseller. The long-term bestseller of standards is always ISO 9000, you know, the quality management. So everybody is using that, you know. So our terminology standards, you know, and the translation standards, they are costly because they're kind of a niche market, you know. And it also goes by pages, you know. That's why I'm so against this large volumes. I'm 100% with you, you know, that it really should be a very concise and very brief elaboration.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, that was so interesting. So, what else? What is Antonina, Kay, Dani? What issues would you like to bring on the table? We have 6 minutes left, but maybe we could do a quick fix.
Yeah, I do have a question actually. I'm not sure whether this can be covered in this session, but
Please go
I would
ahead.
like to go for the written exam, Gabriele, in
Yes,
September,
yes,
if that's
yes.
possible.
Thanks.
Do
Of
you already
course.
have dates?
Yes, it's always
Oh,
the last. It's always end of. Let me check. Which I have it here on computer also. It is always end of September, which would be yes. It's the a Wednesday. It's the 30th of September.
oh, cool.
It's
So I would
Wednesday.
like to go for that if
Perfect.
possible.
Yes. And it will be more or less the entire day from 9 a.m.
Yeah.
to 3
Let's
p.m.
do 3.
And if people join us, yeah, you have plenty of time. And if people from other time zones would like to sit the exam as well, we can even enlarge, because in the US we would then go for from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Not only 3 p.m. but 6 p.m. Yeah, so you really have time. Yeah, please, for everybody else, we always have it end of September, then end of January, and then end of May. Yeah, these are the three common dates, but if you would need also an individual date, we can arrange that as well. Yeah.
So
you would
do
go
I have
for
to do anything? Yeah. Do you need anything from me, or is it fixed now?
did you pay?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I haven't. So that's a good
I will
point.
send out. Yes, I will send out the link. Yeah.
Yes,
So
please.
usually 3 weeks before we did, of course, the oral exam. We already did. Then you attended the summer school. And yes.
So this is done.
Wonderful. This is done. So it's only then the multiple choice test, and
Exactly.
we will open it at 9 in the morning. And we will send you an email when we close it, because you can see your results only when a TermNet is closing it.
Okay.
Then you can see in a second your results.
Okay.
Cool.
Just sorry, I have a question then. The end, I mean, so the exam in September will always only be the written exam?
Yes, because you would need, if you want to sit an exam, you first need the oral exam, meaning a date with me, that's individual more or less. Yeah.
Okay.
We will fix a date, let's say 2 weeks or 1 week prior to the written exam, and then we will do a Zoom or a Skype conversation. It's 20 minutes. It's always that format. That's a standardized format. You have 20 minutes, 10 PowerPoint slides maximum, if you want to use a PowerPoint. If not, you can just explain me, show me, present me your project, your own terminology project. So that would be in your case, you just showing what you have, what what you did. You can show us a spreadsheet, etc. And you should also refer to the content of the training course, so that we see your progress, that we see you understood the theory and you can apply it in practice. That's the only reason why we have first that oral exam. It's a prerequisite to be allowed to register for the written exam. We want to know you. We want to know if you are a practitioner, because this is not another certificate. This is your driving license for terminology management. That's why we're quite picky here, and it's during summer schools. Colleagues know it's the highlight of the entire summer school is when people present their own projects. This is just genius. Kai, can you confirm that? We had from 1st to 4th July, we had our online terminology summer school due to the situation with COVID-19, and it was fantastic. The last day, the Saturday, it was all about your project, and it was just, magic.
It was super fun. And actually, what's been fun is that I was at the Lock World event, and I ran into Daniela Fleck, who's also in the
Yeah.
group.
Oh, but
And
this
where-
was a
and
real,
where did
yeah. Ah,
Und wo haben wir, and where did we meet each other? Of course, in the session of Klaus
Klaus
talking
Weidmann,
about
yeah.
the future of terminology.
of course. Of course. You are addicted to terminology. You
Exactly,
and
exactly.
Klaus attracts you even more. Very good.
Oh, that's great. So I was
True.
just saying to Daniela if she's also doing the I don't know who signed up for September, but I'm also, as you know, that's
Wonderful.
my
Yes,
goal. We
yes,
can
yes.
motivate each other.
Yes, I will
Yes,
send out information, of course, let's say end of August, because in August it's really very quiet. Everybody is away. Yeah, even now in our time. So, but end of August, I'm starting to invite those who did not do the presentation yet to sit the exam, and there will be this link where you can register and pay and everything. So.
That sounds
Wonderful.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
I
Gabriele.
look very much
Thanks.
forward to
Thanks a
that.
lot.
Andre, when are you planning? You have still plenty of time. When did you start your online course?
End of June.
Then you can go for maybe end of January.
Oh no, I would like to go in September.
Oh really? Are you so ambitious? Yes, that's good. Even better.
Yeah.
Of course, if you have now you have a full month of time for learning and browsing the everything. Is it basic or advanced?
Advanced.
Advanced. Then you can do great. Then we have 3 already. 3 people willing to sit the exam on 30th September. Excellent.
Yeah, and if anyone, if anyone, we can always talk like a motivation group, like in university. If anyone feels we need, to motivate each other to get there this time.
Yes. And don't forget, we have the next group coaching is first Thursday of September. So there is then still time to to get coaching for the exam. Why not?
Super.
Perfect.
Super.
Great, guys. Thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you very much.